Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Today, we're going to be doing my 38th Chill and Chat live on a Sunday evening, and we're going to be discussing home arcade. So let's go ahead and say hi to everyone who's made it in the chat already this evening. I see a number of people have already made it. So I went ahead and I started early tonight. Normally, I'll start at 7:15, but if I see a number of people in the chat just waiting, I'll go ahead and start a little bit early. And that way, instead of starting right at 7, if there's another stream going on, I can delay it till 7:15. But if there's people waiting, I'll start early. So go ahead and show up if you guys are just waiting. And then that way I know, gives me the cue and the go ahead to go ahead and hit the live button early. But let's go ahead and say hi to everybody that's made it. And our first chat that came through earlier, and I posted this around 5 o'clock my time, so it was only a couple hours ago. It took me a while to get the live stream ready today. I've been really busy with this iArcade, doing my mystery encoder mod. I started it yesterday and just nonstop been dealing with that and trying to get that thing up to speed and be able to play games on it. So I've been super busy with that. But then I kind of put all that down and started getting ready for the live stream this afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock. Cut it pretty close because I had all the slides created and everything prepared. And I wasn't finished till like an hour before the live stream started. So cutting it really close. But Mike saw the live advertisement as soon as I posted it and said, first, Galaga guy was right behind him. He said, man, I was going to say that, Mike. And JJ's here. He had a pretty good comment on here. I think he had saw the Arcade1up Classic, and that was in the thumbnail. And he had a pretty good comment here. He said a low-cost $300 cab with the artwork game icons rather than a phony coin door and even no riser is fine with me. Risers are still only $50, and you can make one for much less. So yeah, the coin doors, it looked like the last line of Classic, which wasn't actually called a Classic, but were at Walmart, had the coin door. And then this new line, Classic line, they're taking away the coin door and they're just putting the logos on the kick plate. And I guess that's to save a little bit of extra money. We'll see what happens with the Street Fighter. I would like to see them include the coin door. We'll see if they do. They may just go with the stickers on the kick plate. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Thor, he said another comment on the $299. He said, yeah, that $299 cab is critical for Arcade1up. I wish they understood the importance of that price point. I think they're starting to get the hint and they're getting the idea that the lower cost is the sweet spot. That's where we were buying and we were expanding our arcades, you know, at an enormous rate. We were buying them left and right at $300-400. But when they went up to $500, $600, $700, it was just too much money. And I think they're starting to learn that now. A-Trans made it as well. He says, hey, Biggie and everyone. The first week back to work went pretty good, and I'm picking up where I left off. And the Z is hanging in there, getting me to work and back home. That's awesome. That's really good to hear that car is getting you back to and from work each day. I know you just spent a ton of time getting it ready and getting it working. So I'm happy to hear it's running and you haven't had any other issues with it. It's been really hot outside too. So if it can make it in this heat right now, it should be able to make it the rest of the year, hopefully, if it's running good. Let's see here. Carl O says, time to rock with Biggie D in chat. Good to see you, Carl O. Jason's made it. And one really big thing I was happy to see today was Jason's avatar because it was missing the last couple of weeks. And I was uninstalling and reinstalling the plugin and the extension on Chrome to make it work. Nothing was working. So I pulled out an old IT trick and I opened it in an incognito window. And of course, the incognito window doesn't cache those old images. So it works just fine. I'll just use that in the future. That way we never run into that problem again, Jason. But it's good to see you, and I'm glad I can see your avatar. And we got a new one to look at now. Also, Jason, I saw your Pac-Man XL. Looks really impressive. I actually don't have anything really lined up for the Pac-Man XL tonight or any discussion on it. But I did like yours, and I thought it looked really good. Maybe next week we'll get into some more XL talk in the Pac-Man. Atran Fanatic is here. He, like we'd said earlier, he's here. Goofyfoot. Wow, we are starting early. Hello, all. Yeah, started a little bit early, probably like 5 minutes just to get the stream going. Mike Hawkhurts, he says, I'm happy to be here, especially since there's no football game on tonight. I was watching the Cowboys leading up to the start of this game, or to this live stream. I was watching that game, and man, they were blowing them out. It was like 26-0 at halftime. So I'm thinking it's safe to say the Cowboys won this week, but we'll have to wait and see. 33-0 is not a football game, so we're at 33-0 now. It is a blowout. Good start for the Cowboys this year. Not so good for the Cardinals. They lost to the Redskins, I saw. Arcade Talk is here as well. Good to see Arcade Talk and Star Wars Reviews. Always watch his live streams on Thursday evenings. All right, guys, so let's get into this. And Papa Brad had a comment here. He goes, no 4K AtGames at the convention is a huge bummer. And I was going to get into that here in just a little bit. But yes, you just said it right there. So I think everyone pretty much knows AtGames isn't going to be at the Cleveland Gaming Convention or Classic this year. They've decided to hold off on showing off the 4K pinball to a later date, about a month later. I guess they're just not prepared, or they're not ready to show it off, or maybe they just don't have the units available to bring there. I'm not quite sure what the exact situation is, but leading up to this week, we were all thinking the 4K pinball was going to be at Cleveland. Now it's not. So unfortunate, we won't get to see it, but we're still going to have a really good time, whether or not AtGames is showing that off or not. We're just going out there to meet up, play video games, and hang out. So whoever else is there at the convention is just added on. That's just that much more fun we'll have. But I'm going to meet everyone and just spend a weekend hanging out, having a good time. So let's get into here the Arcade1up Classic. Brent's here. I wanted to say hi to Brent real quick. It looks like he made it in here at the very start. But let's get into the Classic, because this is going to be kind of picking back up where we left off last week. We went over a ton of information last week. I mean, it was like overload information from that inside source. I haven't since talked to that source since last week. I'm actually going to kind of do a pause on all that. Just talk about the things I want to talk about, and then kind of get ready for Cleveland. And then maybe I'll get back with that inside source when I get back, and we'll get into some more stuff again. But I want to allow some time to pass before I go back to them and get that information again, because I want to get updates on what we heard last week. And I don't think we'll have much week to week, but maybe month to month we will. So we'll come back to that. But let's get into this Classic line, because what a big part about what we talked about last week was that Arcade1up is going to try to do what's called low risk, high reward, and low development cost. So low risk, low development cost, high reward. That is their plan for 2024. Well, these Classic line of cabinets really fit in to that motto and what they're wanting to do this year, or starting next year. And that is to sell these cabinets for as minimal amount as possible, and just get these things out the door and get them into homes and get people back interested in Arcade1up again, and just expand their customer base. And how they can do that is they can get these into stores, and they can make them less expensive, more reasonably priced. And in order to do that, they're going to have to cut costs. They're going to have to save. In order for us to save money, they're going to have to take things away, right? And they're going to have to give us less of what we were seeing in these more expensive products. So what we're getting here is, this is a new product that they've added to this Classic line, and this is the Big Buck World. Essentially what it is, it's the same thing as the last Big Buck World we saw before, except they've done a few things with it. They've taken away the riser. If we saw the Big Buck Deluxe, that one had the coin door. This is not going to give you the coin door. And then basically, other than that, that's all there is as far as difference. Everything else is the exact same. So no coin door, no riser. And then that gets them into that price point. Now, this isn't a $299. This is a $399 item. And the reason that is they have the send-in light guns. So they have to tack on that extra $100 to pay for the send-in technology, because that's one thing that they have to pay send-in for. They don't really get a huge cut or a discount on those costs with send-in, because send-in obviously wants to make money. But why they can do this one and why this one worked out and made it into the classic line is we see that Raw Thrills logo there on the side. Well, Raw Thrills, they help out with what is their development cost. So this particular cabinet, any Big Buck or any Big Buck Hunter or Big Buck World cabinets, their development costs were lower because Raw Thrills helped them with it in their development of making this cabinet. So there's less investment from Arcade1up, and everything just kind of worked out. And they were able to bring this one to Walmart, put it on shelves for less than $400. Now, I was looking into the chat this week because I had put it on a community post, and many people are saying it looks just kind of ridiculous, how short it is and how small it is. No one's going to play it this way. Obviously, you're going to get a riser for it. The riser's $59. But what the good thing about doing it this way is you don't have to buy everything at one time. So let's say I buy the riser, I buy the lit up marquee later. I end up probably spending about the same as I would if I had just bought a Big Buck Deluxe. But I get to do those things over time, and I get to do it at the time that I want to do it. So I go and I buy this for $3.99. Well, let's say I'm out of money. 2 weeks later or a month later, I get another paycheck. I can then go get my riser. Now I got it at the height I want. Maybe a month later, I get paid again. Now I can go get a coin door from, I think it's Retro 530 that has the coin doors. I can put that in. A month or two after that, I can go get a lit marquee for it. And I can do this over the course of 5 or 6 months, spending the money as I have it, as opposed to having to do it all at one time and go and get the Big Buck Deluxe for $599, charging it on a credit card or something because I don't have the money. Then I'm paying all that interest and I'm never paying it off. So this is an alternative, and it is a very good alternative for those people that don't have, the large pocket or the large pockets to spend, $600-700 whenever they want. But somebody could possibly spend $300 or $400 at, any point and maybe be able to do that and swing that. So I like this. There is a market for these. A lot of people are going to kind of make fun of it. They're going to kind of brush it off as this isn't even worth your time. It's not worth the money because you're not getting all these extras. But for me, I see it as I'm going to get all those extras when I'm ready and when I have the money. And I think there's a lot of other people out there that are that way as well. So let's kind of take a look here at the chat and see what some people think of this cabinet. Papa Brad says, this is horrible. Just the look at this thing. And I get what you're saying, Papa Brad. I mean, in this marketing image, you would think that they would put it on a riser just for this image, right? While they're shooting at it, it just kind of looks ridiculous sitting on the ground the way it is. But they can't put it on the riser for these images because it'll mislead those customers into thinking that they are in fact getting a riser, and they don't want to lead anyone into thinking that. So even though it kind of looks ridiculous or it looks horrible in these images, there's a reason behind why they're marketing it this way, and it's smart. They don't want to mislead anyone. Carl O's talking about how low it is. It is a joke. You probably would never play it at this height unless you were a child and you were really short. But an adult, it's definitely going to have to go on the riser. Mike Hawkert says, maybe AtGames can show off their best of their Genesis Fire Core collection, the crap that mainstream gamers still associate them with, and why they need to rebrand. And I'm not familiar, Mike Hawkerts, with this Genesis Fire Core collection. I'll have to look that up and see what this is about. Jason's talking about, I don't think we'll even see the AtGames Legends Ultimate 4K this year. I'm not convinced that they make the window to ship any ALP 4K this year, either, since they've still been making a few engineering frame changes. And you're probably right. We're getting to that point now where that cutoff, are they going to make it before Christmas? This might be a 2024 product now, is what it's sounding like. Kurt Mason saying, why didn't they use tall people for a small machine? Fire that advertising agency. And Atran's talking about not sure on the streaming part, as I use my phone to record my videos, but I always use the regular facing phone on the phone, which is not the selfie mode. And let's see here on this cabinet, if we got any other comments on it. But as far as it goes for me, am I interested in this? Probably not right now. But you know, if I was interested in getting a big buck world or a big buck hunter, I would maybe be interested in this one because it's at that lower price point and I can do the things that I want to do later on my own time. I don't have to pay for it all up front and, you know, make a big purchase. I can pay for $300-400 item, do these other things later. But this is our current classic arcade collection now available at Walmart. So it was just the 4. It was Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat 2, and now we've got the Big Buck World. So they've added a 5th to this lineup. Now, the one thing that I told you guys last week, which is probably going to happen, is there's one item in there or one product in there that we haven't seen yet, and that's going to be this HS5 Deluxe. So from my inside source last week, I had learned that they're going to do an HS5 Classic. Now we can see from the advertisement, this was at Evo. It would be available in October 2023. So that's next month. So it hasn't officially released yet. And that's why we don't see it on this advertisement as being available at Walmart in the Classic Edition. But starting next month in October, it will be. Now, I'd also mentioned to you guys about this control panel, that it had a offset or an off color on the outside piece. That is going to be affected on the first 2,000 units that they made. Now, after those 2,000 units are sold, they're going to redo these and they're going to make more. Those will be fixed. So if you find any of these at Walmart or you find any of them at the $4.99, the deluxe version that were produced in the first wave, they're going to have a problem with the game deck. There's going to be 2 different colors on there. So for me, if I was interested in getting this HS5 Deluxe or HS5 Classic, I would wait until the next wave, because these first 2,000, it's been confirmed to me that there is a problem with the color on that game deck, and it's 2 different colors, and it's too late to fix those. They've already shipped. They're already either arrived or about to arrive stateside, and there's nothing they can do about those. So if that's a problem for you, you didn't like the look of the color on the game deck being off and looking as if it had 2 different colors, just wait until the next batch is made. And we got a big super chat that came in here by Smitty. Really appreciate the $5 super chat. He says, keep up the strong work, Biggie. Enjoying the channel. The BBH in our arcade has about 2 feet of bricks under the riser. So he's talking about his big buck hunter. He's got 2 feet of bricks under the riser to rise it up that much more. And I know that's important. Even if you have the riser with these big buck hunters, you're going to want to get like a booster under that riser and bring it up even more. Like on my AtGames Legends Ultimate, I got a 5-inch riser, and then I've got a 2-inch booster under that. So I understand what you mean by trying to add as much height as you can to these cabinets. And looking at these big bucks without the riser, you're going to have to get the riser, and then you're probably going to have to get a booster under that. So just forewarn for any tall people out there. The Big Buck Deluxe is a little bit taller. We've looked at that one recently, and I was impressed. They did add a little bit more height to the Deluxe, and the screen height is a little higher on it. But all things you need to consider when looking at these shooting cabinets are the height of the screen. We also talked about Time Crisis and how low the screen was on Time Crisis, how I was unhappy with it. So tall people, just be forewarned on these shooting cabinets. I think of all the shooting cabinets we've seen so far by Arcade1up, the best one is T2. It's the tallest screen height. It's the tallest cabinet that you can get for a shooter. That one is one that I think you could buy and maybe not have to upgrade anything, because it is a pretty tall cabinet the way it is. So looking at the classics, guys, you've got the 5 here. Plus, we've got the HS5 Deluxe coming in October. And then we've got the HS5 Classic, which should be coming in around that same time next month. So all very cool. I did bring up this graphic here, and I also put it on the thumbnail. This is something that I created. This is not a stock image from Arcade1up. This is one that I created for the purposes of this live stream today. But it would just kind of give you guys an idea of what an HS5 Classic will look like. It'll be much shorter. Now, one thing that got pointed out early in this stream was the coin door. Now, I did not remove the coin door for the purposes of this render, but I do believe that the HS5 Classic we're going to get next month is going to have the sticker coin door or sticker coin plate like we saw with the Mortal Kombat Classic. But other than that, everything should appear exactly like it is here. Now you've got that outer piece, which the coloration is going to be a little bit off on that. The marquee looks excellent. Now that is one thing you can say about these HS5s is the marquee has that semi-transparent reverse printed marquee, and it looks incredible. So this may be one of the first cabinets or one of the first few cabinets Arcade1up has made where you don't have to go out to another company or a outside source to get a upgraded marquee. This is one you would get from the factory that you may be happy with just the way it comes. Looks really good on this. So let's go ahead and move on here out of these classic edition cabinets. I did want to bring up here Mike Hawkhurst. He had said, I'm planning to pick up at least 2 of the Street Fighter Deluxe, one for modding project, and I might paint the plastic front panel on both, depending on what it looks like in person. So he's getting 2 of these things and 1 to mod. So this is a interesting cabinet. It brings up a good point what Mike Hawkhurst says. This is a very different cabinet than anything we've seen before. It's a very, with that dynamo look, it's a very interesting looking cabinet. It's going to be a very big difference in the game room. It's going to really stick out. Like if I look at my cabinets and I look at the front of all my Arcade1ups, they all look the same. But with this one, it's going to look completely different. And it's going to give you something, variation of something different in your game room. So I see this cabinet being popular, especially for those people that like the look of those dynamo cabinets. This is going to be a hot ticket item, I think, when it comes out. Even though they've redone Street Fighter over and over and over again, just this cabinet design, I think, is enough to sell this, and people will be interested. So let's move on here, and I wanted to go kind of back to last week. Kind of wanted to follow up on last week's discussion a little bit, because we covered so much stuff. There was just so much information we went through. But there was one in particular subject we covered, and I kind of laid down every cabinet. I gave you guys an idea of what you're going to be getting, why we're not going to be getting these other ones, and it was just very detailed. So I kind of wanted to follow back up on that list we went over last week and just kind of go back through this again. We've seen this probably 100 times in the last week and a half. But these are the ones that were not coming. The 8 that we were not getting out of that list. Track and Field, Aliens vs. Predator, Third Strike, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 XL, the S&K, the Off-Road, the Pac-Man Battle Royale, and the 720. And I've given you guys reasons why each one of these were not being made based on the information that I was given by my inside source. And we went over each one of them, but they all came down to one thing. These all were not going to be made for basically because they all did not meet this motto. They were all high risk. They were all high development costs. And there was a very low reward on all these cabinets. Now, the ones that were coming, that we know are coming next year in 2024, the Robotron 2084 and the Smash TV cabinet, where we're going to have one mold. We're going to have a choice of which skin we want. So we'll have the choice of a Robotron skin or a Smash TV skin on a 2-player game deck with 3 games. It would be those 2 plus Total Carnage. Then we went over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, This was likely to be a deluxe, maybe an XL in the future. And this is going to have the first 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games that we got on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cabinets, plus the Cowabunga Collection games list as well. So you got your NES, your SNES, the Game Boy games, all that included as well. That is coming in 2024. And then the Star Wars, the Atari Star Wars XL, and then the new Star Wars Pinball. Those are the ones we know are coming. And the reason that those were coming were that they were all low risk, they were low development costs, and they had a high reward on all 3 of these. So that made sense as to why they chose these 3 over these other 8. Okay. And that's just kind of following up on what we talked about last week, because I kind of wanted to just say that, get that back out there of, you know, this motto, because this is going to be something that they're going to be following the rest of this year, and it's going to be their motto for next year as a company. Now, are other cabinets going to be added to the list of what's coming next year? Obviously, there are going to be new cabinets coming in 2024 that are not on this list. These are the 3 that we know are coming next year from their 2024 release list. Thus, okay, but there will be others. Now, the other games that do come next year are going to be ones that also meet that motto. So we'll probably see some XLs of cabinets that are like surefire winners that you know for a fact are home runs. And then you're going to see maybe potentially some new products, but those are going to be ones that have low development costs where they use the licensor or the whatever the name is, like if it's a TV show or a movie or something like that, they're going to try and produce that and develop it at the same time like a movie or a TV show is coming out, so they can lower those development costs. They can get some buy-in from those studios or from those developers to help them with the development costs. That's why it kind of really piqued the interest. We heard a live stream recently with Cyrus, and it really piqued his interest when we talked about Alien versus Predator, because he knew that there was an Aliens movie coming out next year, and he could kind of align that release with that movie. And that is something that Arcade1up is very interested in going into next year. If they do a new product, they're going to try to align that product with something else that's much bigger than it, that they can capitalize on that and use that in their release. So like an Aliens, or just think of anything else, you know, like a Walking Dead or Jurassic Park. We've got the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary going on right now. So that's something that Arcade1up could really capitalize on, is to, you know, release a Jurassic Park maybe with Raw Thrills right now in line and in that same time frame as this Jurassic Park 30th anniversary. So that's kind of giving you guys an idea of what may be coming based on those ideas there, and that should make sense. But who knows? You know, we really don't know what's going to be released unless I, you know, follow up with my inside source next month and he directly or she directly tells me what that's going to be or what they're releasing. I'm going to continue to speculate on what I think it can be. And that's going to be things like movies, TV shows, or developers that that will come in with Arcade1up and join Arcade1up in the development costs. They're not going to go out and do these all on their own anymore, like they did with NFL Blitz or like they did with the Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Those kind of cabinets we're not going to see again for a very long time. Let's see here. Robotron is, for me, is what Galaga Guy is saying. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people out there that are super interested in the Robotron 2084 skin. So it'll be interesting to see how many people purchase the Robotron skin and how many people purchase the Smash TV, and watch it be like 50-50, you know, right down the middle. But that's why I like the option, because there's a lot of buyers for both. Atari now owns Berserk, is what Jason's saying. So I got Berserk on my iArcade last night thanks to this Mystery Encoder mod, and that is a fun game. Berserk is a great game. I can see why it was popular. Science Spirits is saying Jurassic Park would sell like hotcakes. Absolutely it would. You guys got to know that Jurassic Park is coming. We see Arcade1up and how they release these cabinets. And just like with Star Wars, just like with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, you know, these big sellers, Jurassic Park is going to be right there with all these others. And it's going to be, I think, one that they'll redo and over again if they can just get it out there, to get the first one out there. So let's move on here, guys, to the Wheel of Fortune Casinocade Deluxe. So I've been covering a lot of the Casinocade. I'm actually one of the only channels out there that really spent a lot of time and effort on the Casinocade leading up to its release. And I have that one video out there that I did right about a week or so before it released. And I think it's one of the most viewed non-review videos out there on the Casinocade. But I continue to follow it. I'm continuing to be interested in this product just because I'm a fan of Arcade1up, and I want to know where they're going, where they're heading, and what makes them make these decisions to make cabinets like this. But it was very interesting this week because the Casinocade came back up in the news for home arcade this week, and it wasn't for a very good reason. And so this is what like the button lookout or button layout would look like on a Casinocade. And you guys can see the coin in button. This is a render off the Arcade1up website. So this is officially how it should look. So the coin in button is on the left side. The negative bet button is on the left of the spin button. The spin button's in the middle. The positive bet button is on the right of the spin button. And then on the far right is the bet max button. So we have 5 total: coin in, less bet, spin, more bet, and bet max. Just like kind of like a casino, you know, slot machine would look. And this is how it looks again in person. So this is an in-person image, so we know what it looks like. And it makes sense, right? See, we got on the far left the coin in, we're putting in the money. On the left, we're lowering our bet, we're spinning, we're raising our bet on the right side, and then we're betting our max on the farthest right. So it's all laid out for a reason in this way. Well, this week on Reddit, there was not just one, but several people posting images of their brand new Wheel of Fortune Casinocades, and they open them up, and the buttons aren't working, and they can't figure out why their buttons aren't working, or why when they're pressing something it's not doing what it should be doing. Well, that's because everything's got messed up. All the buttons are laid out improperly now. As we can see, the add bet is on the far left. The lower bet is to the right of that. So that's all awkward and weird. And then we've got our bet max there on the right of the spin, and then the coin in on the far right. So all messed up. Nothing's working right. So what I recommend, and what I've seen others that are doing out there, if you get your Casinocade and you unbox it and you find this, the best thing that you can possibly do is, hopefully you bought it from Best Buy. As soon as you unbox it and you see that game deck and you see the buttons are off, put it right back in the box. Don't assemble it. Take it back up to Best Buy, exchange it for another one, or return it and then go purchase a new one. And hopefully your next one won't have that problem. That's your easiest scenario, is just to take it back up to the store. Now, if that's not an option, let's say you guys have purchased it elsewhere. It's not as easy as just taking it up to a Best Buy. What you could do is just open a ticket with Arcade1up. Just take an image of this, send it over to them. They're also going to need your receipt, and they're going to need the serial number on it. And then open it up. And underneath each button are just a couple of plugs. You're just going to unplug those cords and plug, and you're going to move those around until you have the wiring lined up for each button. It's going to take some troubleshooting and some work, but at least you can get it up and running. Everyone that I've seen that's had this problem on Reddit or Facebook so far has been able to figure out the rewiring of the buttons to make it work. Because it's going to take some time. I don't know if Arcade1up has parts on hand available in stock to like send you a new game deck immediately, or if this is going to be something where, you know, this is on back order and people are waiting. But I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on what I find out in the coming weeks on this. But I do hope that Arcade1up has these parts in stock and they can just send everyone a new game deck. That would be the best ideal situation. But what's bad about this is one of those products where Arcade1up was kind of going out on a limb, and they were creating a product that was outside of what they've normally done to grow their audience, to grow their customer base. And this is going to come back to bite them. This is going to blow up in their face if they don't get stuff like this under control. Hopefully this was on a limited amount. So just like the Street Fighter we were discussing earlier in the stream and how the colors are off on the game deck, again, they're having another quality issue. But this is with ones that are already out in the wild. People have already purchased them. People didn't really have any warning on this. We've got warning on the coloration problems on the game deck with Street Fighter, but we didn't know anything about this until it was actually in people's homes. So like for me, this happened to me, I'd be pretty upset. And if I was a first-time Arcade1up customer, I'd never purchased anything from them before, and this was my first experience, I wouldn't be too happy. So this is not a good situation for them. Hopefully, I had saw that Rexer had commented on my community post this week when I had posted this, and he's very critical of Arcade1up. He's always on them about, quality issues like this. And he was wondering, has Arcade1up officially made a post about this, or have they officially announced anything as far as like a solution for this problem? And they haven't. We haven't heard anything from them in regards to this. So it'll be interesting to find out, are they going to make a public, announcement about this? And are they going to let people know where to go and what to do if they do find that theirs is like this and the buttons aren't working and they're messed up? So very bad quality, and very like here, I saw Jason he said very lacking with their attention to detail. Absolutely. Oh no, this was Papa Brad. It shows a lack of attention to detail. Absolutely. I mean, how this could leave the factory this way doesn't really make sense to me. Like, how could this leave? Like, there's got to be some quality control before it leaves the factory. There's got to be some eyes on every single unit before they get boxed up to go be shipped out. They can't just be shoving these in boxes and just hoping and praying that they're going to all look and be assembled correctly. There's got to be some quality control, and that's going to cost them some money, but they got to do that, and they got to figure that out. Jason says, are you getting Glenn's deck? I spoke to him about some iconography changes instead of the words along the top of the deck. Stay tuned. So I'm not going to get Glenn's deck yet. We're going to get into my mystery encoder mod here in this stream here very shortly. And having all these new games on my iArcade is making me more interested in Glenn's deck. So I may, originally I wasn't interested in it. Now I'm becoming more interested in it because I can utilize the spinner and the trackball and the volcano buttons with all these new games I can play on it. So I may be more interested in it than I was before. Lethal Wolf said, took me a while to figure it out. Carlos says they created a product no one asked for, seriously. And, none of us in the arcade community or the home arcade community were asking for this. But there are many people out there that have purchased it that just are fans of slot machines, or they're fans of having like a casino experience in their home. And from what I've been hearing, it has been selling well. So this is an unfortunate, misstep here with these buttons and these going out like this. Mike Hawkert says the football game is getting good. 40-0. Fox must be in heaven. Well, I'm in heaven too. I'm from Dallas, so I love the Dallas Cowboys. I am obviously in Phoenix now, so I'm a big fan now of the Cardinals. But I like both teams, and I'm more of a Cowboys fan than I am a Cardinals fan. So 40-0, that's huge. That is a great start to the season. I've been doing a lot of sports, fantasy sports on my phone this week. I'll do like DraftKings and things like that during football season and basketball season, but I don't do it during baseball because I don't know anything about baseball and I just haven't had much luck with it. But football, basketball, I know pretty well. And this is my first week kind of back in a long time of doing fantasy football, which is like real money, DraftKings, where I'm like paying $1 or $3. And I had $3 on this Cowboys Giants game. If I got first place, I could become a millionaire. And let's see, I was at halftime, I was in like the top 30% at halftime. So I'm going to check here live to see where I'm at now, because I'm just curious. Okay, so I'm in the top 50%, but probably not likely to win anything tonight. But Thursday night, I did really well during the Thursday night game. And when I say really well, like I bet a few dollars and I made a few extra dollars on top of that. Not talking real money here. But all right, so let's get in. I want to talk about this 4K pinball. So we talked about this earlier in the stream, in the chat, that the Legends Pinball 4K is not going to be at Cleveland. This was a huge, huge disappointment for me. I was really looking forward to seeing this 4K pinball in person, being able to get like a review on the convention floor and being able to ask AtGames questions about it and to be able to bring that information to you guys out there in the audience. But unfortunately, they're not going to bring the product. So huge disappointment. And I think it's just timing. You know, they're probably running into some issues here right before its release. And it's always easy to delay things, right? If they delay it, it buys them more time and allows them more time to work out all these issues. And I would rather them do that than rush it. I don't want them to rush this product out to us at the expense of us getting it and something not working, right? Or to be something like this Casinocade experience where a button's not working or they're not wired correctly. You know, we cannot have that from AtGames, and we expect that from AtGames to not do something like that, to not rush it out, to take their time, to make sure everything is done correctly the first time. So when we spend our hard-earned money, our $1,500 or whatever this thing's going to cost, when we get it, it works, right? We don't have to be on the phone with support trying to figure things out, you know, when we first open it. So this is a good thing, I think, with the delay. It is a bad thing when we initially hear it, but it's probably a good thing in the long run. But here's just kind of like some close-up video. I've been watching Wagner's Tech Talk the last few weeks on all his updates with us, and we got some new video. Again, on most of his videos, he'll do it at kind of an angle where it looks kind of, you have to turn it, flip it vertically to really be able to watch it. I didn't include any of that video in here. But we can see some of this where it's upright and it looks good. He is this week doing the OTG mode. So he's been hooking computers up to it. I think he started with a Steam Deck and then he plugged in a $1,500 laptop and the thing looks incredible. The games look amazing running in 4K off of a gaming laptop. So this thing is, you know, coming along. It is going to be delayed. And like we heard Jason say in the chat, it may be next year. It may be early 2024 now before this thing actually gets released. But we are getting close. We're getting into the final months now before it releases. And a little bit of a delay is not a huge thing for me because then I can just hold on to my money a little bit longer. Because like I told you guys, I'm going to spend the full $1,500 or whatever that costs to get this thing. I'm going to charge it. So the longer they delay this, the more time I have to save money and get prepared to spend that much. It's not a huge disappointment, I think, financially for me. And one of our members, Papa Brad, he says, here is some microphone money. And really appreciate the $2 super chat, Papa Brad. And I probably should have brought the video up earlier. I actually had forgotten to bring it up on our first super chat from Smitty. So let's go ahead and run this super chat video for the DJI mic for both Smitty and for Papa Brad for the $5 and $2. Appreciate it, guys. All right. So, yeah, that's going to go a long way. So we're getting really close to Cleveland now. We're getting into, Cleveland's going to be in, I was checking it right before the start of the stream. So I'm going to have one more stream next Sunday on the 17th. And then that following weekend, I'm going to be in Cleveland. So there will be no live stream on the 24th. But next week is our last live stream before Cleveland. So I'll probably buy the DJI mic next weekend. And I'm going to get it from Best Buy, I think. I should have it in plenty of time before I fly out on that Friday. So next weekend, on that Sunday, the 17th, that'll be the last Sunday that you guys can super chat if you guys want to contribute to the DJI mic that I'll be purchasing for Cleveland. But I super appreciate that money, guys. It all goes a long way. Every dollar helps. All right, so let's get in. We looked at the 4K. Everything looks really good on this. There is the delay on it. I'm okay with it. Hopefully you guys are okay with a little bit of a delay, long as that they use that time wisely to make this product that much better for it. All right, so now we're going to get into some really fun stuff. So I've been working on this Mystery Encoder mod. Each week for the last few weeks, I've been pulling it up on the camera and just showing you guys that I had the Mystery Encoder A custom arcade USB enabler that I purchased online like a month ago. And for the last month, I've just been watching, kind of sitting in the, the stands, kind of like spectator mode, just watching everybody else do their mods, because I didn't want to risk in any way my, iArcade or bricking it. So I was going to let everybody else be the guinea pig, let everyone else mod theirs for a few weeks or a month. And then once I saw that it was safe and that everybody was kind of getting to the point where they knew it was working on, a large number of iArcades, and we weren't seeing anyone brick them. And then we were also seeing people put the games on, and the games were running good. And we were learning that a lot of the games that do run, and then we were learning what games do not run. And that's important too for me, because I didn't want to spend a ton of time, going through these MAME ROMs trying to find which ones run and which ones don't. Kind of wanted to just reach out to friends and people in the community to, ask them, hey, which ones have you had a good experience with, or which ones do you know don't run, so I don't waste my time trying to put them on my iArcade. Also, something else I've learned is you can't delete games on the iArcade once you sideload them through this Mystery Encoder mod. So it is really important that if you do put a game on there, that it, for one, runs, and if it does run, that it runs decently, because you don't want to have a bunch of games on there, kind of like your coin ops, that don't run well. And then you're just shifting, searching through, hundreds of thousands of games, and you can never find what you want. So I'm not going to go that route where I'm just overloading my iArcade with a bunch of games. I'm going to only put games on there that I know run good, that I know have been tested by others in the community. And I don't want to put thousands of games on it. I want to put, right now, I think I have like 70 or 80 games on it. I want to have maybe like 100 or 150 games tops. That's like the maximum I want to have on there. And that's just because when I search through it, I want to be able to find what I want quickly and just get to those games. That's what I like about the Raspberry Pi Arcade1up that I modded several years ago using ETA Prime. I only put 60 games on this, and all 60 games play exceptionally well. There's not one game that plays bad. Now on this, I've got like 150 games already, and there's like one or two on there that they run, but the sound isn't that great. So, and one thing you have to realize and understand is you cannot delete games once you get them on there. So like, for instance, The Simpsons, the sound is off, it messes up. I cannot go and delete that game now. And I'll probably never play it on this iArcade because of that sound issue. So it is, there's still some work to be done on this Mystery Encoder mod. There's still a long road ahead. But I felt like the timing was right for me to go ahead and get started and get some games on there and get playing around with this thing. And I've had a ton of fun with it. Actually, up until this stream started this afternoon, I didn't actually start preparing for this stream till about 3 or 4 hours before the live stream. Normally I'll start in the morning, but I was just messing with this iArcade and I was having so much fun with it. And I almost decided not to have a live stream tonight because I wanted to mess with my iArcade all night. I didn't even want to get on live tonight because I wanted to keep playing with it. But I also realized that I have a I have my viewers, I have my audience, and I have to think about you guys. I can't be thinking about myself, all the time. I got to realize, you guys count on me being here on a Sunday evening. So I didn't listen to that, voice saying, let's cancel the stream so you can play iArcade. I went ahead and came through, and I'm here. So I'll get back to playing this thing after I hit end on the live stream tonight. I'll put it that way. I'm having a ton of fun with it. It's really cool. But here's what it looks like when you first open it up. So when you get the A Custom Arcade USB enabler, they have instructions on the website, and they have you disconnect the board completely from the iArcade. You pull it completely out of the iArcade when you install the board. And I think that's because something about the plugs, like where the monitor plugs in and the sound plugs in and the power, all that's got to be unplugged when you put the board on. So I did everything to a T. I followed the instructions exactly like it should have been. And I got it. So I got it on there, and it snaps in really easily. No issues there. And then I got it put back in, and I plugged everything in, and I got the game deck back in the iArcade. And then I flipped this board up so we can see what we're seeing here, and I can have access to the board. And I start the first step. And like one of the first steps is you're holding down the mystery encoder button. So there's a button on this board, on this USB enabler. And let me get that pulled up for you guys here. So this is the board, right? Or the iArcade board. And this right here is your USB enabler. And there's two buttons on the USB enabler. There's the mystery button and the go for broke button. And I'm not going to give you guys the actual instructions because I'm not reading them right now. But basically what you're doing is you're pressing down one of these buttons and you're holding that down. And while you're holding that down, you're going to press another button, the second button, for 1 second while holding down the other button. And it's a little bit kind of confusing, but I followed the instructions exactly like it said. And I was watching B Kong's video when I did this. I was watching his video. And in his video, he says when you do this, it brings up like a rocket ship and it makes a sound. And it makes like a melody sound when you do that. Well, I have the YouTuber board. I have the white one, the original one, not this black one. And because I got mine before this one was sent out. Well, evidently mine doesn't have the rocket ship and the melody. Mine just doesn't have anything at all. It just makes like a popping sound. And then the screen goes black on the iArcade. Well, when that happened, and I didn't see what I was seeing on B Kong's video, I freaked out. I thought that I had just fried my board. So I reached out to Papa Brad because I knew he's been putting out videos on this thing, and I asked him about it. And he didn't really know at the moment. It'd been a while since he had done this process. And then I'd reached out to Steps Gaming, and she said the same thing. It had been around a while since she had done this process. So she didn't really know either what had happened. And then I'd called Brooklyn Menace, and Brooklyn may be in the chat. I didn't see him yet. Oh, there he is. So Brooklyn, I'd called him, and I heard and saw him in the chat this week talking about how he ran into some problems with this mod. So I was like, okay, this is the perfect person to call right now because this week he's had issues doing this, and he'll be the perfect person to ask. And he had the white YouTuber USB enabler like I had. So perfect situation contacting him. And he said, okay, that popping sound, I got the same exact popping sound you got, and I got the black screen. Don't worry. You're right on track. You're exactly where you need to be. Just pick back up on the steps where you left off. So I did that. And where you pick back up right there, it's like a 6-hour process to back it up. And then it's like another hour process to flash the board. And so I started all this stuff on Saturday at around 1 o'clock. I didn't get done until like 1 o'clock in the morning, this morning, Sunday morning. So I was like 12 hours straight dealing with this stuff, just hoping and praying I didn't ruin my iArcade. But as soon as I finished all these processes and I backed it up and I flashed it and I turned it on, it turned on just like it normally would. And all my games were there, all my saves, everything. So I was super happy. No issues. and got through all that. So then I was able to put the game deck back on it and lock everything up. And now I've got like a USB cable that comes out from it. And then I've got another USB cable that comes out from it. So one of those is for loading the games, and the other USB cable is a female USB end, and I can plug. It's like an extension cable, USB to female USB, and I can plug in a send-in light gun. So I'm going to be looking at a send-in light gun and using that here shortly. So you guys will see here on this board, there's two inputs at the top. There's a device input and there's a host input. So I think it's the device input is what you're going to load your games using that USB input. And then the host is where you can plug in like a third controller, or you can plug in a send-in light gun. And what I'm really looking forward to is a send-in light gun. I've got Revolution X already on my iArcade, and looking forward to being able to play that. Also Operation Wolf. And hopefully there's some other light gun games that come on down the line that have been tested by the Mystery Encoder team. And I can play more light gun games. So it's just, this is a really fun and just a huge undertaking as far as like learning all this. But I'm really enjoying this whole process. Even though it's been kind of stressful at times, I'm really enjoying it. And it does, like I have my Raspberry Pi multi-cade on an Arcade1up. I've got my AtGames Legends Ultimate with CoinOps. That's another multi-cade experience. Now I've got an iArcade, which is a totally different multi-cade experience. So like some of these MAME games I have on my Retro Pi, my Pi 4. Some of these games I have on my AtGames Legends Ultimate through CoinOps X. But I'm finding that some of these ROMs, some of these MAME ROMs play better on the iArcade. They look better and they play better. So it's giving me a wide variety and a wide range of multi-cades and experiences on each one. So this is really cool. I love this thing already. It's just, you know, at $3.99, I think I paid for this Retromania Wrestling used. I thought it was a good deal at $3.99 just as an iArcade. But now that I can open it up and I can sideload all these games on it, and I've got this huge community that's working on making it even better over the next year and a half. You know, this thing is worth it. It's got no price tag to me now. This thing, I would never sell it. You know, if someone offered me $1,000 for it right now, I would not sell it because it's not easy to find an iArcade now. These things are probably going to get pretty hard to find. Here's Street Fighter Alpha 2. I loaded this up. It runs great. And what was interesting is I tried to get Street Fighter Alpha 2 to run on my Retro Pi on my Pi 4. And for whatever reason, I couldn't get this ROM to work. I could get Street Fighter Alpha to run on it. I could get Street Fighter Alpha 3 to run, but I could not get Street Fighter Alpha 2. So for the last 3 years, I have not been able to play this game. And this is my favorite of the Alpha games. Now I've got it on the iArcade. There's a few other titles like that on this iArcade that I can play that I couldn't play on my Retro Pi, Raspberry Pi either. So it's a great alternative, gives you another experience, and then obviously another platform or another board to test and play ROMs on. So it's really cool. I'm going to be doing a lot with this thing coming up in the next few weeks, and then after I get back from Cleveland. So just expect lots of Mystery Encoder mod talk and videos and things coming up with this. Maybe I'll even do a tutorial. The only thing is with the tutorials with this is I think there's only like 600 or so of these USB enablers out there in the wild, I think. So it's like how much, you know, how many or what's the maximum amount of views or success I can have with an iArcade Mystery Encoder mod tutorial. You know, like, is it worth the time and investment for me to make one if only 600 people at maximum could benefit from that video? So I've been debating, should I do a tutorial or not? We don't really have we've got Papa Brad's tutorial, we've got B-Kong's tutorial, but we don't really have a lot out there. So I've been considering it. We'll see here coming up if I do or not. Now, something else I wanted to mention with you guys on this, and then I'm going to go through some comments here right after this. on this subject with you. But if you guys have the tempered glass protector, be very careful taking it on and off. I'd found out this week that all the edges on this tempered glass are really sharp. I cut my thumb when I took it out, and I didn't know where I cut my thumb, but I'd realized I had like a real small cut on it. I didn't realize where or when it happened. Well, then I put the tempered glass back on, and it kind of slipped out of my hand a little bit, so I had to grab it really tight to keep it from falling as I was putting it in. And when I did, that's when I realized where these cuts were coming from. They're coming from the tempered glass. So wear gloves or have like some, paper towels or something in between your hand, because it will cut your hands pretty good. Like when I was putting it back in, it cut my fingers so bad it was bleeding. So just be careful if you have the tempered glass. It is very sharp on the edges when you're taking it in and out. Just wanted to let you guys know about that. But let's on this mystery encoder, let's see if we have any comments on this. I want to bring some up and maybe bring up some extra discussion on this subject. Science Spirit says, I just need to get comfortable with the modding game like you veterans. So Cyan, I started with I'm not a modding guy. I mean, I do work in IT, but I'm not like a modding guy. Like I don't like messing with things. Like if something works, I don't like opening it up because I'm risking breaking something, and I just don't like that feeling. But I kind of got over that with the ETA Prime mod. If you look up his Raspberry Pi mod for an Arcade1up, it is so easy to follow. It is by far the best tutorial video I've ever watched. Someone that has little to no experience in modding can watch that video and follow it and get all the way through the entire process, and it won't be very difficult. That's where I started my modding. And then since then, I've just been kind of, modding things here and there, buttons, sticks, recently marquees. I did the CoinOps X build. I'd used P-Dub's video for that. It is very easy to follow if you are into the AtGames CoinOps modding. But then with this iArcade, I was very reluctant and I was very timid to try to get into this because I didn't want to mess anything up. So I kind of feel you. I'm not very comfortable with modding. What I do is I find a very good tutorial and I just follow those tutorials to the T. I don't deviate from them at all. I don't rush myself. I just take my time and I do everything just as it says, step by step, and I get through it. And you'll realize actually a lot of this modding isn't as difficult as you think it is once you start getting into it. It looks like a lot when you first start, but if you just get into the steps and you just do them, you'll start to see it's not that difficult. And then when you do your next mod, you have that much more experience going into that next one, and you have that confidence. But it is a lot of fun, and it opens up just a whole new, experience and fun when you start adding all these extra games and features onto these cabinets. Jason saying, hope the deletion functionality is among the first things that are added. Absolutely. The delete thing, not being able to delete bad games or games that don't run good, or maybe games that you don't want anymore. That's a huge disappointment right now, not being able to delete them. But I noted, like with the mystery encoder mod for the pinball, I never did the pinball mod, but if we remember when it first released, it was very basic. There wasn't much to it. But over the course of like a year and a half, that mod has changed tremendously. The menu system, the way you do it, the ease of doing it, all that changed, and they've improved it. So I think the same thing is going to happen with this iArcade mystery encoder mod. They're going to improve it month after month. Just take some time, testing and their time. Andy's Game Room is here. Sorry, I was getting more salsa. Atrium Fanatic says, not a problem, brother. And if you need any tips or help, hit me up. Oh, and I'm no pro. Just love to learn as I go. Yeah, just the experience of learning these modding techniques and the whole thing. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of stress, like me yesterday with that board and thinking that I ruined it. But the end result, it was all worth it. Mike Hawkert says, and then hit delete all, just like Beakongs. Please do not do that. It really deletes everything. So yeah, I'm surprised we even have a delete all button. So right before you install your games, there is a option to add the game. There's like another option, then there's a delete all button. And if you press that, it deletes everything. I'm just surprised they even have that option on there. Oh yeah, it's like you can't delete individual games. That makes me think about something. We can't delete individual games, but we can easily delete all our games. So I don't know how that works. It just deletes the games you never really wanted anyways via AI. Atran says, and we got your back. So yeah, there's people in the community out there that are going to help you if you've got questions. I reached out to like 3 different people yesterday freaking out, and they were all helpful. Brooklyn says, the same pop that happened to Biggie D happened to me, and I thought I fried my board, but it's normal. I learned during this process how tough the iRcade board is. Yeah, and that's what Brooklyn was telling me and made me feel better, is like everything we're doing, it's nothing you can't come back from. You can reverse everything that you're doing. And then what's really good about this and doing this mod is you actually have a real backup of your system. So if you ever want to go back to the default settings and restore it back to the way it was before you started modding it, you can do that. And you'll have a full backup when you do this process to revert back if you ever wanted to. Atran says, I'll watch the video and I don't even have an iRcade. That's awesome of you, Atran. Yeah, I'm sure there are going to be some people that watch it just because they're interested or they want to. But, you know, it's like, how much time or effort should I put into that tutorial if there's only, you know, so many people that can benefit from it? We'll see if I make one or not. Cornercade, Biggie D in the house. Good to see you, Cornercade. I know you've been doing a ton of streaming lately. I haven't been able to catch all the streams, but I've been seeing you out there, and I do support the Cornercade. He has got a great channel. Carlos says, get the soldering iron out, Biggie D. That's one thing I don't know how to do is soldering of the boards. I've never done any work like that. I mean, I've worked with a lot of computers, but I've never gotten to that extreme yet to where I'm actually soldering. That is something I want to learn, though. I don't think it'd probably be that difficult. I just need someone to teach it to me or to teach myself. Mike Hawkert says the tempered glass is the only upgrade because the plastic iRcade comes with it is so cheap. You could literally go without any screen protector for the max quality. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people in the community just pulling off the protector altogether. I mean, if you have to use the original one, the plastic one, so be it. But if you have the option to upgrade to the glass, it's way better. But like Mike Hawkert is saying, if you can't get the glass, it may be better just to take it off altogether. I've been seeing a lot of people doing that. It's just a screen, you know, like we're looking at our screen on our computer or on our TV. We don't protect those. So I don't know how important it is other than it just kind of gives you that feeling of a real arcade. Man of people, PB. Man of the people, PB. And Brooklyn saying he found a workaround for deleting games but refused to post it because after doing it too much, I crashed my entire arcade and it took 2 days of trying everything to get it working again. So yeah, let's not be doing that. All right, so got through all the mystery encoder. Now I'm just going to get into a few closing thoughts here to finish out the live stream tonight. I've been really busy in the home arcade and the game room this week. I've been doing all kinds of work. I've been doing the mystery encoder mods, but I've also been doing marquees. My Joe Zabo's marquee came in this week. So I showed you guys over the last 6 weeks that I'd ordered a marquee from Joe Zabo's, and it just took 6 weeks to get it shipped out. I had told you guys last week I'd actually sent him an email asking when it was going to ship out, and I think that kind of sped things up a little bit. But I got it, and I got it installed. I'll tell you guys, these Joe Zabo's marquees are super easy to install. A lot of people are saying you have to use a blow dryer. I didn't own a blow dryer, and I just peeled mine right off. Mine, I didn't need to heat it up. I didn't need to do anything. I just took some tweezers to the corner and I just started peeling, and it peeled right off. I had very little glue, just put some Windex on there and got a little bit of glue off. Slips this thing right on. Probably took me maybe a total of 5 or 10 minutes to install it. But man, does it make the difference. It's night and day difference. And it just makes the whole experience of playing Killer Instinct that much better now. And seeing that Nintendo logo up in the upper left, it just really does it for me. I love these marquees. I don't know if you guys can kind of see it back there now. But man, it looks good. So happy with this. So I had also showed you guys last week, I had bought this OEM marquee for the class of 81. I thought it would fit my black Miss Pac-Man pretty well. Play a lot of Galaga on it. But I kind of knew going into this that I was going to get a Joe Szabo's marquee for it. I really just wanted to get an OEM marquee I could put in there that would kind of get me by for that 6 or 8 weeks it would take for him to make this and ship it out to me, because I knew it would be a long time, and this was a good fit. So I got it put in, and how I did it is I kind of disassembled the Arcade1up. I've seen a lot of people in their marquee videos, they keep it upright, and they just take a few screws out, they kind of pull it apart, and then they can fit the marquee in. I didn't want to go doing that and just pulling everything apart like that and trying to jam it in there. So I just started disassembling it, just like I would be disassembling it and putting it back in the box to return it kind of thing. Like I was unscrewing everything until I got the side panel off. Once I got the side panel off and I could lay it down on its side like you're seeing in this image, it was super easy to unscrew the old one and put the new one in. The new one was an OEM, so it fit just perfectly in there. Got it all screwed back together, put back together. Probably took me a total of maybe 20 minutes to do the replacement. And it got it in there and it lights up. No issues there, because it said it was brand new on eBay, but you always kind of take that risk. Like, what if it doesn't turn on? You know, and I didn't test it before doing all this, but luckily it turned on. But I noticed instantly, as soon as I turned it on, I turned my Killer Instinct on right to the right of it. And you guys can see how bad the blacks are on this Class of 81 marquee. They've improved this. So if you guys see the Class of 81 Deluxe, it's much improved. But if you guys have the one that looks like this before the Deluxe Class of 81, this marquee is by far one of their worst. If you get real up close, the colors are just really spotty. And there's just like the black is just not good at all. It's really washed out. So like I told you guys, I'm getting the Szabo's marquee. I knew I was getting that even when I bought the OEM. But I've got this ordered. I ordered it on Saturday. So hopefully in about 6 weeks, I'll get this. And then I just got the Miss Pac-Man. So it'll go exactly with my arcade. It'll match. And we can kind of see in that image how glossy and how great it looks. So I'm hoping to get this soon and get it put in. Now, my first one, I used PD7's promo code, got me 10% off. This time I used PDub's promo code, got me 10% off. So if you guys are trying to save a little bit of money, I'm always trying to save money on this channel. PD7's 10 will give you 10% off. PDub will give you 10% off. Just so you guys know out there, every dollar you can save counts. It helps. So now some really big news, some really exciting news is I'd reached out to Joe Szabo after getting my Killer Instinct and ordering this Miss Pac-Man. And I had told him about my channel. I'd said, hey, I've got a home arcade channel. We talk about Arcade1up a lot on it. We do a weekly live stream. We'll get hundreds of people that watch our live streams each week. And I was like, would you get me a promo code? I would like to, you know, support your channel and advertise your products on my channel with, you know, a Biggie D's promo code. So he responded back saying he's going to make me one. So hopefully next week I'll get like a Biggie D's 10 or Big D or something. I don't know what he'll use, but he's going to make me one. And that'll be a 10% off. So that'll be 3 10% off coupons. Because what I've noticed is, like, when I ordered my Killer Instinct and I used PD710, I went to go order the Miss Pac-Man and I was going to use PD710 again. It doesn't let you use it twice. And even if you have an account or you don't have an account, it doesn't matter. It's based on your address. So if your shipping address shows you've used PD7, you can't use it again. So I found PDub. Now I'm out of promo codes, but I'm going to get a Biggie D's promo code very soon from Joe. So we'll have 3 community codes we can use going forward. Science Spirit says, if I use all 3 codes, do I get 30% off? No, I don't think we can do that. We can't stack them. Unfortunately, that's a good idea. I wish we could, but no, we'll just have to buy 3 marquees, I guess, to get our use out of those. I'm going to be doing my Marvel superheroes next. Now it's a little tricky because my Marvel superheroes is modded. It doesn't have the input for the marquee. So I'm going to have to get like an adapter or something to power the marquee separately because I don't have the original PCB. I've got a Pi 4 in that one. But Marvel Superheroes is next, and I'll probably do that one when I get back from Cleveland. And then I've got Final Fight upstairs. I'm going to do that after it. Eventually, I'm going to have marquees in all mine, and they're all going to be Joe Zabo's marquees eventually. Atran Fanatic says, I don't care about the value of the 1-ups as I probably won't ever sell them. And that's where I'm at. I probably will never sell any of my arcade 1-ups unless I get like another one. So like if I get a Killer Instinct, like a new one in the future, maybe then I would sell this one because I'm upgrading. Same with the Miss Pac-Man. If I get the slanted screen, maybe I'll sell it then if I have doubles. But I will never sell something that I don't already have a replacement or an upgrade for, because I just have a reason for each cabinet I have in my home, and I don't want to sell these. Papa Brad's Gaming says, AtGames Bit LCD and Bit Pixel are the best home arcade marquees. I've been looking at the Bit Pixel and the Bit LCD. My thing is, I don't know if I'm a fan of the screen above me. Like, you know, we got enough screens. Do I need another screen on my arcade? You know, I like the, you know, the more just realistic looking, the artwork of the marquee, not like a screen that's showing me the artwork. I don't know. I was almost sold on the Bit Pixel, and I'd almost pulled the trigger on it because it was like $180. And then the Bit LCD, I looked at that one again this week. It's like $350, just out of my price range. Just not something I'm interested in right now. But I've been hearing they look good. Steps has made it. Saw Steps was streaming earlier. She was doing some live streaming of some gameplay. Missed that, but I'll probably go back and rewatch. Good to see you, Steps. So Cleveland's coming up, guys. We got 12 to 14 days till, or 12 days now, I guess you could say, till the start of this. And I'll be there on Friday the 22nd, and I'll be leaving on Monday the 25th. I'm going to be arriving around 3 p.m. on the 22nd. And I think a lot of the Arcade Anonymous group is going to be getting there around that same time. So probably be meeting up with them on Friday, going to the convention on Saturday. Sunday, I'd like to go to an arcade. I'd like to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and this Christmas Story House. And then on Monday, who knows, a lot of people will probably be leaving on Monday. I know P-Dubs is going to be flying out Monday evening like me. So I'll probably be hanging out with P-Dubs on Monday. And who knows what we'll do. But we'll probably be doing something right before we fly out that evening. But I hope you guys can make this. If you can't, definitely stay tuned to the channels. There's going to be a lot of content coming out of pretty much every home arcade channel because we're all going to be there. And like I told you guys earlier, I'm going to get that DJI mic. So next weekend after that live stream, I'll be purchasing it and getting some interviews in while I'm there. Mike Cockert says the promo code should be 5-month shipping because that's how long it takes to get stuff from Zabo's if you're not a content creator. So yeah, it takes a long time. It took 6 weeks, and I kind of had to really push him to get it out in that 6 weeks. It probably would have taken over 8 weeks if I had not done that. Shoot, if I had not said anything, he may have just taken, 3 or 4 months. Like, Mike Hawkhurst is saying here, a 5-month time frame. You got to kind of bug them and, let them know you want that product to kind of push it and get it out sooner. Science Spirits, Biggie, are you still getting Time Crisis? I am not getting Time Crisis. It is way too expensive at $750. The screen is far too low for me at my height. Maybe there's some booster options that come out in the future through buy stuff. And then also the price comes down, and I may be interested in Time Crisis later on. But right now, too high, and there's no, the screen height's too short right now for me, and there's no booster or anything that I can get for it. Oh, look at this. Jason, he sent over a super chat of $5 saying, keep up the excellent work on the channel. We appreciate you. Well, I appreciate you, Jason. That $5 is really going to go a long way. I'm really looking forward to using this new mic in Cleveland and just bringing a whole new experience to this channel with doing these side-by-side interviews with people. You know, we'll be doing them at Cleveland, but we'll be doing them when I get back home. When I go to these arcades and I do the tours of the arcades, I'll be interviewing the owners, and it's just going to bring a whole nother experience to this channel. So I sure appreciate the $5, Jason. That's going to go a long way. I appreciate that. Well, guys, so that's going to pretty much wrap up this Sunday night live stream. Step says, sorry, Biggie D or Biggie. I just felt like the Mega Man 2, if I go, I will be there Friday and Saturday and leave Saturday night. So she just felt like playing Mega Man 2. Will you play Mega Man 2? Because I love Mega Man. I've got the Anniversary Collection on Steam, and I still play that quite often, actually. Great game. I grew up playing Mega Man. She is also saying that she is going to be, in fact, we've got confirmation, Steps will be in Cleveland. She's going to be there on Friday and Saturday, and then leaving Saturday night. So she'll be in and out, get to go to the convention Saturday during the day, and then get home. But I think that'll be good. It'll be great to see you, Steps. And I know you're a pretty short drive away, so you have that ability to just come and leave and get in and get out. So that's awesome. Happy you're going to make it. For us that are, you know, traveling cross country to get there, we're going to be there a lot longer. You know, I think like P-Dubs, I think, is getting there on Thursday. There's some people getting there on Wednesday. So some people are going to be there almost a solid week. But I'll be there Friday at 3 o'clock is when I arrive. And then I'm flying out Monday at like 10 at night. So I've got Friday evening, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and most of Monday to go to arcades, hang out with the community, go to the convention. We're just going to have a really good time. Science Spirit says, so Time Crisis is too high and too low at the same time. Good point, Science Spirits. That is exactly what it is. Price is too high and screen is too low. Atrian says, well, that's cool. Then I can tell Zabos I'm a content creator, so my order will get done faster. Well, actually, I didn't even tell him I was a content creator till after I'd received my order. I'd only brought that up so I could get a promo code out to you guys. And I obviously wanted a third promo code because I'm about to get another marquee from him. And Cornercade saying he'll buy Time Crisis for me. I know he's getting it. So if you guys want to look for a review, definitely check out Cornercade. And he'll be probably putting out one of the first reviews on this thing in the US. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday evening. A good start to next week. Make it a great week. It's really our last full week before Cleveland. So let's get our work out of the way so we can play and have a good time. And I'll see everyone very soon. Hopefully I get some videos out this week and be a little more motivated to do that. And if not, I'll see everyone next Sunday during the regular live stream on Sunday evenings at 7:15 Pacific, 10:15 Eastern. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Normally, if I go to the end credits song credits, that's it. The live stream has ended. But I had something come through before I pressed in that deserved and required me to come back live on air. And that was this $2 super chat from Smitty. This is his second super chat he's sent through tonight. I super appreciate this $2. This goes a really long way. He says, here's for some custom bricks to raise the Time Crisis, because he was talking about how he's got 2 foot of bricks under his arcade. Time Crisis is going to require some more bricks because we got to raise these things up. They're too short. That's awesome, man. $2. Let's run that video real quick, and I'll say bye one more time after that. All right. So Smitty's $2 goes a long way towards the channel, towards the DJI mic. And let's see here if there's anyone else I'm going to say bye to right before we leave that I haven't brought up. I did see this comment. PD7 ordered the Time Crisis. He did. So every Monday morning I watch PD7. He's got a walk and talk every Monday morning. And on his last one, he ordered Time Crisis. He pressed the buy button from Shop Hippo and spent the full $750 to buy it. So check out PD7 for a review, as well as Cade for the Time Crisis. Andy's Game Room saying, have a good one, Biggie. You as well. Have a good week, Andy. Goofy, have a good night. I'll see everyone in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.